Touch mine.
Welcome back to Whoscussion for this week. We're on part B. We'll be going over Fire and Brimstone with the Eighth Doctor and finishing up with the Third Doctor short story. Can't remember what it was called. Walls of Confinement. There it is.
That's the one.
Walls of Confinement. Okay, so this story, Fire and Brimstone, it is...
yeah.
Do you mind if I go again, Harry Skelly, or do you
Take it away.
Take it away? Awesome. Alrighty, so this story is a direct sequel to last week's story, The Keep. The Doctor has been pulled in the TARDIS to where the entity had been fired off. Was it called the Ark?
The sun. The cauldron?
The Cauldron, there it is. The Cauldron had been fired off to the Crab Nebula, and the Doctor's been pulled to its final destination. It's been 6 years since it was fired there, if I'm not mistaken.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, something to that effect. So the Doctor has been pulled in there, but the story actually starts off with a gentleman who can see the future, and he mentions Abaddon, which if we look at Torchwood, we'll know Abaddon gets killed by Jack, Captain Jack. This Abaddon that the gentleman who can see the future speaks of is indeed the same Abaddon. It is a demonic presence that lives outside of the bounds of time and space. And he sees a force being brought forward by Abaddon to take over our time and space zone. So our version of the universe.
And they appear to him as demons.
Yes.
Which is rather interesting considering part A of our Whoscussion, because they are actually alternate universe Daleks.
Yes. It's interesting. It's a demonic story with the Daleks, which is quite funny because part A was all about demons and the Daleks. So there's a demon. So the demon Abaddon seems to be in this gap between the time zones, which we know in modern Who is called the Void, and this gap has filled with alternate universe Daleks. Wow. They also say exterminate, and the Whoniverse version of the Daleks are afraid of them. Because as we know, the Daleks are purists. They're not a huge fan of things that deviate from the Dalek genome.
Yep.
And they've basically got the Doctor not to exterminate him, but to have him protect them, basically. They've turned the Doctor into a key that will create a wormhole into the alternate timeline. And the Doctor pretty much foresees this. I'm not too sure how he does, but he manages to foresee that. I don't know if he expected it to be the Daleks, but he did expect there to be someone planning to turn it into a wormhole. So
he kind of figured that out after this person that he was with, the future seeing guy, sort of basically shows him this future seeing well that he's got.
Yes.
He sort of discovers it from that point on, basically, it seems. I think he sort of figures it out at that point, considering the thing that is allowing him to see the future is the sun, the cauldron, basically, where this man who can see into the future is not only part of that sun as well, which is quite interesting, but is also, he's put this part of that sun into this thing for him to see out of as well. He is the sun looking at the sun in a different place to see the future. So, yeah.
The comics, exactly. The Doctor manages to, and it's a Marvel comic as well, so it's just crazy cosmic stuff. So within this comic, the Doctor pretty much creates like a time-space clone of himself using the cauldron that he gives to Izzy. And what's very interesting is in the story, Izzy is dressed like the Seventh Doctor.
Yes.
That was very interesting. I was like, that's the Seventh Doctor. And the story ties back to the Seventh Doctor's story in which he loses his friend, which again, spoilers I won't mention who that friend was. Spoilers hashtag. It's definitely who you think it was, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Seventh Doctor had lost his friend, so the Eighth Doctor's real pissed when the Threshold turn up, who are the race of beings that are responsible for the death of his friend. And they're like, oh, hey, can you help us kill the Daleks? And he's like, I'm going to kill the Daleks, but I'm not going to help you.
Yep.
And he pretty much does exactly that. He kills the Daleks, but he doesn't help the Threshold. No. In fact, he rains on their parade quite heavily. The Threshold get pretty screwed over by him, and his Star Child version of himself ends up creating the wormhole, and the two Dalek forces end up attacking each other. You find out that this whole event was set up by the Time Lords, and they don't even have a conversation. They don't even mention the Time Lords. The Doctor picks up a box with the seal of Rassilon on it, looks at the Threshold, and was like, them, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry about that, bro. But they're actually really not your friends at the moment. I don't know what 8's done. Could have been something 7 did. But they're not too impressed with the Doc at the moment.
I think it's probably because they're seeing what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're probably like, hang on a moment, 8's probably going to kill us all.
He's probably going to be thoroughly responsible for us being dead.
Yeah, and his incarnation right after him as well. Yeah.
I still see John Hurt as an old Paul McGann, and I think I'll take that to my grave. But yeah, so the Doctor, and again, they don't actually say Time Lords, which is interesting. The Doctor just, and it's cool because if you're familiar with Doctor Who, then you'll know what it is. But if you're not, and you're just a Marvel comic book reader, I think it would have been really intriguing in that aspect as well, for you to not know who these beings are, but just know that the Doctor isn't too happy about them fooling around with his timeline.
Yeah.
So that was great. The Doctor, again, the Threshold are a gap in reality. They're an actual race of beings that are gaps in space-time. So crazy. And I love how Izzy calls one of them Mr. Outline.
Yep.
I was just like, that's so good, because all she can see is their outline. I was like, absolutely perfect. Hey, Mr. Outline, you need to shut up. So it's great. Izzy is what I love about Izzy is she doesn't get scared. She's not like, Doctor, please.
Yeah.
And she's
full of pop culture references as well.
Much,
it's so good. She's making so many jokes about that.
I love when Izzy talks about Discworld from the Terre.
And he's like, I've been there.
I've been there. I'm just like, what? How have you been to Discworld? It's not real. And then my brain's like, well, land of fiction. I'm like, yep, all right.
Land of fiction is a
thing. That, hey, Gods of Ragnarok, can you let me back into the land of fiction? Why?
Because I want to go to the Discworld.
I want to go to Discworld. Okay, Doctor.
Okay, Doctor. Just don't kill us, okay?
Destroy us in that great time war that's probably coming, you old scam pew. So, that's pretty much that. This story is, again, can be picked up on Comixology and Comic Books Unlimited, both applications that are on your phone, and have cloud saving, so it remembers what page you're on. Not a plug, again, people, just ways for you to get Doctor Who content as easily as possible. It's better than picking up hard copies, because they're like $1 bajillion on Amazon. I actually saw a copy for $80 the other day. That's 80 American, by the way. And I certainly would not be able to afford that for a very long time. So I was just Comixology and Comic Books Unlimited. Again, both apps that are available for Android and iOS, not Windows Phone. Sorry if you guys still use those. But yeah, Harry Skelly, thoughts on the story?
It's really good, honestly. It's a really good comic book story, even just on its own, without being part of the Doctor Who universe. It's really interesting and altogether. I really like the design of the alternate universe Daleks, because they seem sort of like spidery, but like still the octopus-esque ones. But their deal is that they have the casing, the base casing on both sides, on the top and the bottom, and it comes out like claws. It's really quite an interesting design.
It kind of reminds me of the War Daleks that were in the the 50th anniversary.
Oh.
'Cause they had that design where they had the sort of like spider-like appendages on them when they were flying around killing Time Lords.
Yeah, that is very similar.
But it look a lot cooler in this story for sure.
Yeah, because I mean they did have special weapons Daleks showing off in this as well.
Yeah.
I
love how they were like useless compared to the alternate universe Daleks. They got hiding.
They were. Yeah. Although there was the bats, like the actual demon-esque looking things as well.
Yeah.
In the story that weren't Daleks, which I'm kind of curious as to what exactly they were because it wasn't thoroughly explained. I mean, I'm guessing that they are still just another alternate Dalek from somewhere. It's just interesting because it doesn't actually stipulate directly that is what they were. Because it definitely stipulated directly that they had found an alternate Dalek that is this sort of spidery, tentacle-y one. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm guessing that there's a universe somewhere where the Daleks are demon-esque looking, which makes sense, I guess, because they're
in the Genetic Project.
They're kind of evil. So
yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out because this story, more than the first two did, that I suppose the first two were just building Izzy and the Doctor as a companion duo. But this story, more than those two, actually builds up like an arc. Like we need to see, what the Threshold are doing. The fact that the Threshold don't time travel, I found very interesting.
Yeah, they don't need to.
Yeah, because they live for ages, so they just wait it out.
Yeah, so that means that like every time he goes back in time to see them, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna wreck you later." Like, no, you're not.
So I'm looking forward to what they've agreed with the Time Lords. Why the Time Lords are out for the Doctor. It could again be because of the Time War that's upcoming.
Although it does also
the Time Lords, I don't think we're aware it was coming though. So
the seal on the box was not just any old Time Lord seal. It was the seal of Rassilon. So I'm also kind of wondering if it plays into
Zagreus!
into the Zagreus arc as well.
Yeah, so. I'm looking forward to that. And when we get back to Charlie, I'm looking forward to going on the rest of the adventures with her, especially post Zagreus. I love when Rassilon was like, Charlie, he could have gotten rid of Zagreus whenever he wanted, and Charlie's like, I don't think he could have.
No, I think you're a lying bastard.
Yeah, I think you're full of shit, actually. Just throwing that out there. So I suppose we'll move on to the third Doctor story now. But again, just before we do, you can pick up these stories for pretty cheap on Comixology and Comic Books Unlimited. Alrighty, so Walls of Confinement. Harry, go take us away.
Oh, yes. So just a really short one, about 17 minutes long. Real nice bite-sized story. Third Doctor in a zoo with a time-traveling little boy. There you go.
Essentially the story, yes.
Yeah, essentially the story. Well, he's not time traveling, I guess. He's gone ahead and pickpocketed part of the dematerialization circuit of the Doctors, which effectively seems to give him the ability to become incorporeal and move through walls, which ends up leaving him in the tiger enclosure there for a little bit, where the Doctor, saves his life by being the Doctor, as he does. Then it turns out that little boy is actually Nicholas Courtney. Well, I mean the Brigadier. The Brigadier's. Sorry, just know him as the same guy. It's the Brigadier's godson, who the Doctor was for some reason tasked to look after. Not sure what you were thinking there. Good old Brigadier. But he does explain it as trying to force a little bit of humanity onto the Doctor. And of course, the Doctor then is like, bit more human, eh? How about you give me some money? And Brigadier's like, money? We got loads of that. Come on. Yeah. You see us with all these fancy weaponry all the time. Where do you think we get all this stuff? We got lots of So the Doctor takes that money and basically donates to the zoo that they were at, and gives this tiger a better enclosure by giving them the money to build one, which is quite nice. So it definitely seems like something the Doctor would do. But then he notices that this tiger still does the same pacing that it did when it was in the small cage.
Yeah, I doesn't realize it's larger.
Yeah, he's not particularly happy about this, and Liz Shaw, who's also in the story, tries to console him, and he does this quite interesting little speech about how its mind had gotten basically compounded into this idea that is how big the world is for it now, and it can't escape that. And the Doctor, seeing this, hopes out loud that he does not end up the same with his entrapment on Earth.
Yeah.
That he does not get stuck on Earth, even when he's got the ability to be free. Which kind of is a little pertinent of Big Finish to go ahead and do, considering what is currently going on with New Who, with him being effectively finding himself stuck to Earth, where he just continues coming back.
Yeah, New Who does it a lot. He's just on Earth.
Yeah, so it's hits the nail on the head on that one. And many of us here at Whoscussion are not particularly happy with that fact. And I guess obviously a lot of other original Whovians are not happy with that fact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, all well and good having a human companion, but having him be only on Earth gets really boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pretty much follow up from what. Wow, that's so poignant, mate. That's actually like taking the wind out of me a bit. Because the third Doctor, and it's so cool having because unfortunately Carolyn John is no longer with us, and so Katie Manning's filled in the shoes for Liz in the story, and I think she does a really good job with the the way that Carolyn John spoke as Liz Shaw. I think she really nails it. I love her Brigadier.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so perfect. It's so great. And again, this is one of the stories you can pick up on Big Finish's SoundCloud for free. And we'll put that in the description as we always do. So definitely give it a listen. It's very poignant. It's that last scene that Harry Scully just spoke of is very, very, very sort of powerful. And I think you're right in saying, Harry Scully, that it's the Big Finish guys talking about New Who, basically.
Yeah.
Because he can go anywhere in time and space, but he's on Earth. It's like you look at the first season of New Who with the Ninth Doctor. Every single story takes place on Earth. There was not a single alien planet story in the whole of Christopher Eccleston's run.
I guess, yeah. Actually,
that's woo.
I mean, either in the future or in the past, it's all
of Earth.
It's all Earth.
So
I mean, even the companion that he's got with him, I won't say her name. Even when he asks her where she wants to go, and she could go anywhere, time and space in the universe, she wants to go in the past, even during her own lifespan.
Yeah.
How boring is that?
Yeah, I know, right? You get given the keys to heaven essentially, and you give them back. This story is very poignant, and with all of the short trips we've basically done, the short trips are incredible. They're nice bite-sized stories. You can get through them in a day. You can get through them on a smoko, so that's always good. I definitely give this a listen.
They say so much in such a short space.
Yeah, and I really like that. We get some insight into the Brigadier's background. He's got a godson and things like that, and the fact that he's like, I'm way too busy. Can you look after my godson?
Yeah.
I'm too busy, being a brigadier. And that pretty much wraps that up. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up Part B for this week?
No, that's really about it. Other than definitely go and read and listen to these stories. They are fantastic. The extended universe of Doctor Who is, as always, really, really, really fantastic. I really recommend that you you find it and listen or read it.
All right. Well, with that, I'll catch you all next week.
Mm-hmm.